I have a quick question for anyone who voted for Donald Trump. What are you going to tell your child when they come home from school crying because their best friend was just taken out of their classroom by an immigration agent?
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
Yeah, bud.
Sheriff's Department, anybody inside? Just like monitor looking out the windows to see like where the fire. Oh shoot.
That's sir. Copy that, sir. I'll give you a call right now.
Oh my gosh. Sheriff's Department, anybody inside? You gotta evacuate. Hello?
Hello? Where you at?
Where are you?
Hello? Where are you? Oh, hi! Okay, perfect. Is there anyone else with you?
No.
Okay.
Where were you at?
What?
Which room were you from?
I've been trying to find a way out.
Let's get you out of here.
Let's get you out.
Where
Okay.
do I go? But don't lose me.
I promise I
No, we
won't.
won't lose you, don't worry. Okay? Thank goodness. We've been yelling. Did you hear us?
I didn't hear. I'm deaf,
Okay.
and I couldn't charge my hearing aids. I'm 100.
The White House is seeing a bit of a boost this week, with inflation easing to 2.7% in November. That is down from 3% in September. Some data is missing because of the government shutdown, but the president is taking a victory lap.
You saw the inflation numbers. They just came out today. What great timing. Practically no inflation. We've had tremendous success. We're bringing prices down. We inherited a mess. And part of what we inherited was the worst inflation in 48 years. I say history, but we had the worst inflation. It drove prices up. And now we're bringing those prices down.
45 cents a gallon, that is a pretty big deal. Now, if you would have just filled up a 20-gallon tank compared to a month ago, you would have saved more than $9 a tank. And if you have 2 to 3 cars and you fill up several times a month, that is a lot of savings. You might be doing a double take at some gas stations around town. Regular gas for less than $3 a gallon. That's what we found at the Quick Trip on Losi.
It's not as painful at the pump.
It's always nice to have cheaper prices, but
So, as an Uber driver, this helps me save a tremendous amount of money. With the prices what they are right now, I could probably save roughly about $60 a week. That's what I think I'm doing right now.
And
That's an extra $60. I got 9 children, so $60 go a long way.
Arco on South Jones, Costco's and Sam's Club, and some Murphy Express stations are in the top 10 list of cheapest gas prices in town on GasBuddy.com. AAA says gas is the lowest it's been in 4 years.
Meanwhile,
Chevron has left California. Valero is leaving California in April of 26. Phillips 66 is leaving at the end of this year, 2025, December 2025. All because of California. Tax laws, business laws, regulations. All because of this fake environmental mess. Trying to save birds and fish that don't nobody give a damn about. That you don't even know about. Trying to save the environment. But then they're going to import gas from places that don't care about the environment at all. You know how hypocritical that is? And now we have to pay for it. Well, y'all got to pay for it. I got an electric. I got an EV right now. But people are going to have to pay for that. Because they have made it so hard for these oil companies to operate in California that they're leaving for greener pastures, such as Texas. When are people going to wake up? All that overly taxed, over-regulate, all this old hippie-ass rainbow liberal bullshit has got people fucked up in California and has made it hard to live out here. Come on, man. Stop giving these people your vote. The next California governor needs to be a Republican, period. It needs to go red in California. Simple as that.
Just 24 hours after Governor Gavin Newsom went on a national podcast to claim that California state government is one of the most efficiently and effectively run state governments in the nation, the California Independent State Auditor issues a scathing report calling Newsom out for, quote, high risk management and putting eight state departments on the naughty list. Coming up, we'll walk through a list of management failures, fraud, and wasteful spending that Gavin Newsom needs to be held accountable for. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state representative. And I almost am unable at this point to keep up with all of the lies that Gavin Newsom is dropping as he races around the country trying to pretend that he's something that he's not, running for president. He is literally a lying machine. And he's very capable as a liar because, number one, he truly nails the part. He can spin a lie with such authenticity because he's a narcissist. And he's been lying for many years, so he's really good at it. But another thing that he does that these liars, serial liars, are very effective at, and this is why they're able to do damage for so long before they're caught, and some of them are never caught, is that he tells so many lies that as you're off trying to clean up and get the truth out about a lie he told yesterday, he's already off telling 12, 6, 18 lies on different topics. The latest comes in the form of Newsom trying to pretend like he is some sort of mega efficient model government. He's a great manager, dude. Oh, he's done such a great job. Just ask those people in the Pacific Palisades who had their homes burned down, who've not been able to rebuild. How good of a manager is Gavin Newsom?
A $33.9 billion request.
So Gavin the impotent just made a big thing out of how he was storming Washington, D.C. to go fight for us victims of the Palisades fire and get us the money that we need to recover. Oh, there was so much fanfare, the fancy black and white pictures, the video edits, and then just nothing. Did he get any money? No. Did he get anything other than his social media content? No. Did he bother to meet with Senator Rick Scott, who's leading the congressional investigation into the Palisades, who's been to the Palisades more times than Gavin Newsom, who's shown more interest and action in getting our homes and lives back? And Gavin storms the Capitol, but doesn't even meet with the one senator who's spearheading the whole thing. Instead, he demonizes the very people in D.C. he needs to be cordial with, the very people with their hands on the purse strings. And then impotent Gavin just tucks tail, comes back with nothing. He accomplished absolutely nothing. This is why he is Gavin the impotent. Can't get the high-speed rail done. Can't fix the homelessness crisis that he swore to fix 2 decades ago. Can't get us federal aid to rebuild the Palisades when every other governor seems to be able to do this. Gavin the impotent, when it really matters, he simply cannot rise to the occasion.
Shout out to Spencer Pratt. Shout out to you, Spencer Pratt. Shout out to you, Spencer. Shout out. Shout out to you. Shout out to you standing in your post, in position, in pocket. Shout out to you, Spencer and Heidi. Shout out to you. This may seem weird because I don't cry on camera, but I wanted to record a video because I wanted to pay respect where respect is due to God and to Spencer for picking up his cross and doing what he's needed to do. I don't know Spencer personally, but I know his spirit. And I'm so elated because I know people that lost their homes. I have friends that lost their homes. And I know what it is where you go through something and then there's an uproar and then there's nothing. Because people get over things quickly when it has nothing to do with you.
Flashback.
6 months is no good. And the number one thing that we are going to do immediately, and you will see this happen, is to clear out the debris. And we're concerned right now over the weekend because of the potential rain, but we are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe. And we want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't
Yes,
cost
and
a
they
lot.
can.
You
And
should
they are
let them
able
do
to-
it because
No, no,
by the
they
time you
can do
hire
that.
contractors, it's
Right.
going to be 2 years.
If a family...
People are willing to get a dumpster and do it themselves and clean it out.
And they can
There's
do
not that much left. It's all incinerated.
That's right.
And, you know, it's just going to take a long time if you do. You can do some of it, but a lot of these people, I know that guy right there that's talking. I know my people. You'll be on that thing tonight, throwing the stuff away, and your site it'll look perfect within 24 hours, and that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to wait around for 7 months till the city hires some demolition contract
If
that's going to charge him
want to build-
$25,000 to do his lot. I think you have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
That's right, bitch, please. Here he is on this national podcast. And of course, shame on the podcast host for not doing their job. It's it's the New York Times interview. And he says, we've been doing Doge before Doge was even happening. We call it ODI. ODI. Only dishonest information. Okay, that's the ODI we get from Newsom. Listen in.
I started Doge. We spelled Doge ODI. I started in 2019.
That's sort of worse than Doge.
Well, I
actually.
agree. It's the Office of Digital Innovation. Now it's Office of Data Innovation. So I made it even worse. Again, we've reformed our procurement. We've reformed our civil service system. We have advanced more Gen AI pilots than any other big state in the country. We continue to innovate in that space. But I didn't try to do things to people. I try to do things with people.
Governor, you got a second? Governor, I live here, Governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I
it
don't
doesn't-
believe it.
I'm sorry. There's literally, I've tried 5 times. That's why I'm walking around to make the
Why
call.
is the president not taking your call?
Because it's not going through. So
Why?
I have to get cell service.
So let's get it. Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing that right now. And it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance, and to help you. I'm devastated for you. I'm so sorry, especially for your daughter. I have 4 kids losing the school.
Everyone who went to school there, they lost their homes. They lost 2 homes because they were living in one and building another. Governor, please tell me, what are you going to do with the president right now?
We're getting the resources to help rebuild.
Why was there no water in the hydrants,
That's
Governor?
all being, that's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be. Has to be. Of course.
What are you going to do?
I'm doing
To
everything
fill the
I can.
hydrants. I would fill them up personally, you know that.
I literally.
I would fill up the hydrants myself.
I understand.
But would you do that?
I would do whatever I can.
But you're not. I see do you know there's water dripping over there, Governor? There's water coming out there. You can use it.
I appreciate it. I'm going to make the call to address everything I can right now, including making sure people
I'd
are
like
safe.
to make sure you do. Can I have an opportunity to at least tell people you're doing what you're saying you're doing? Could somebody have a contact? Can I have your contact information?
Right there. So it didn't get the kind of attention that running around on stage with a, I don't know, with who is that
Chainsaw.
guy? Yeah,
Malay's
chainsaw. With our Argentinian president or our dictator and chief would have generated.
Well, we have the actual receipts, the proof that Gavin Newsom is lying in that New York Times interview. He's not the most efficient governor in the nation. He doesn't use technology well. In fact, his own state auditor, who's an independently appointed auditor, who minds his P's and Q's and is very, subtle about raising issues. His own state auditor this past week released a scathing report slamming the governor as a high-risk manager, and that he is presiding over a state government that has 8 major high-risk management failures going on all at the same time. Oh, but you're not going to hear that follow-up question from the New York Slimes or any other national media outlet. They're going to let him go around in the country, pretend to be a well-managed state governor. So we've got the receipts. Let's go through what the audit report revealed. First and foremost, technology. He likes to talk about technology. the state auditor slammed the state of California for high-risk management, failures of multitudes of technology programs, costing billions of dollars. The most recent was actually highlighted in local media reports here in California. The state of California lost $500 million, $450 million, on a failed 911 system upgrade statewide. Second area, healthcare programs are chock full of fraud, billions in fraud. The state Medi-Cal program has ineligible recipients. And that's just not counting the undocumented ones. That's $13.1 billion in counting. But that's by choice. That is by design. That's waste with intent.
A massive investigation has uncovered that California may have committed major fraud against the US government by exploiting this complicated loophole that's allowed them to steal billions in federal taxpayer funds. One of the largest and most convoluted schemes in modern history has been discovered during a review of California's medical financial records. Investigators found that under Gavin Newsom's leadership, the Golden State has essentially been funneling taxpayer money from all across America to prop up California's own finances. The ingenious plan started in 2022, and it revolves around the complex concept of intergovernmental transfers, which in simple terms is when a local hospital or county makes a transfer to the state Medicaid agency for payments of medical services such as ambulance rides. After the transfers are made, the state can then request a matching amount of money from the federal government, but Newsom's California abused this system by raising the price of a simple ambulance ride by nearly 300%, and then once the local hospitals made the transfer to the states and the state received the matching funds from the federal government, they then instead paid a private ambulance service which cost only a fraction of the original price, pocketing the difference. But the thing is, this is all legal and the government must find a way to close this loophole.
The mismanagement, billions of dollars, according to the state auditor, on inappropriate, fraudulent Medi-Cal payouts. You also have providers, hospice organizations that are getting all sorts of, healthcare providers that are billing inappropriately with almost no oversight. Oh, and we're not even counting the Obamacare subsidies that are now becoming topic of a national discussion, where the state of California is the leading offender in approving Obamacare subsidies for people who are not eligible for them.
If I can make one video go viral, I hope it's this one, because our server at Eaton Park is probably in her 70s. I'm here with my son, and she can hardly walk. And we heard her tell the table next to us, because they asked why she was still working, that she only makes $910 a month on Social Security, and she has to still work because her bills exceed $910 a month. Any proceeds I get from this video and the TikTok Creator Rewards program, I will come back and give to her. I have $40 in my purse, so that's what I'm going to leave her for a tip.
We get a lot of views off this.
Why?
Because she's barely has any money.
And she can hardly. Yeah. Thank you.
You have a great day. Be
This
safe
is
out
for
there.
you. We heard you say you can't retire yet.
I know.
So we gave you a little extra.
Thank you. No, I worked all my life and as a waitress and still can't retire.
I'm sorry. I feel so terrible. So does he. Yeah. How old are you? Oh, I shouldn't ask that. Sorry.
I'm 18. I'm 81.
Oh my goodness. You look great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I can still outdo these young whippersnappers. You take care now. Take care and enjoy life, because it'll go by you fast.
Okay, TikTok, do your thing. Make this video go viral.
Please.
Flashback. Illegal aliens aren't just swarming the streets in Yuma, Arizona. They're piling into hospitals too. Migrants checking into Yuma Regional Medical Center racked up $20 million in unpaid bills in the span of just 6 months. The CEO of the hospital, Robert Tranchell, told Fox and Friends Weekend's Rachel Campos Duffy that no one, not the city nor the state or federal government, is stepping in to foot the bill. despite reaching out directly to Arizona officials and Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
We've had to provide a lot of flights, air ambulance flights out of Yuma. We've had to increase extra staffing to help with these individuals. So the cost, that $20 million is just the care that we're not compensated for that we've provided. The other infrastructure that we've had to add is uncompensated as well, obviously.
Tranchell added that illegal aliens are the only patients at Yuma Regional Medical Center who are receiving free care.
Do any other residents in Yuma besides the illegal immigrants get free care from your hospital?
No, they do not.
But of course, the care isn't really free. Someone will eventually have to pay, and that someone is likely to be you through higher taxes or insurance premiums. So again, we are paying for our own dispossession and replacement. Along the way, we might be left without medical care, a finite resource after all, and perhaps even decent hospitals in which to get it.
Newsom allowed $30 billion in fraudulent unemployment benefits to be issued. He borrowed $20 billion because he was running out of money because he was issuing so many fraudulent benefits. And now that $20 billion has to be repaid by struggling small business owners. Newsom just raised the payroll tax in the state of California to pay for his management failures. Doesn't sound very efficient and effective to me. Then we have water infrastructure. The auditor's report has a very alarming chart showing all of the dams in the state of California that are being recklessly managed, that the management of the dams has resulted in the dam's condition being in poor condition. In other words, it is a risk to public safety. Here's the chart. You might live next to one of these. The blue ones are only in fair condition. Imagine living next to a dam with all that water. People say, well, is a dam well managed? Yeah, it's fair. Or the yellow ones, which are poor. Hey, you live next to that dam. What's the condition of it? Oh, it's poor. It's poor. It's in poor condition. Or I used to live next to the red one, Lake Hodges. Unsatisfactory.
Flashback. I need to tell you something that will change how you see every lake in America. Right now, as you're listening to this, there are over 50 black towns at the bottom of those lakes, not abandoned, not evacuated, drowned, on purpose. While I was growing up, history books taught me that dams were symbols of American progress, engineering marvels, proof of what we could accomplish when we put our minds to it. Nobody told me about the thriving black communities that were chosen to be flooded. Towns with schools where children learned to read, banks where families saved money, post offices that connected them to the wider world, churches where they worshipped and buried their dead, places where freed slaves had built something real, something they could pass down to their children. All of it gone, underwater. And almost nobody talks about it. This is not a conspiracy theory. These are documented facts that were buried along with the towns themselves. I'm going to tell you their stories, and when I'm done, you'll never look at a recreational lake the same way again. Between 1900 and 1970, the United States government and private power companies built hundreds of dams across the country. They needed land to flood for the reservoirs that would provide electricity and water to growing cities. Engineers studied maps and surveyed valleys. They calculated volumes and water flow. They made decisions about which communities would stay and which would go. And somehow, they kept picking the same kind of land, black land. After slavery ended in 1865, formerly enslaved people faced an impossible situation. They had no money, no property, no legal protections worth mentioning, but they had one thing that couldn't be taken away: the determination to own something. They scraped together whatever coins they could earn. They bought land that nobody else wanted, parcels in swamps and flood zones and rocky hillsides, land that was cheap because white people had deemed it worthless. They built their own towns in these places. They wanted distance from white communities where violence could erupt at any moment. They wanted safety for their children. Most of all, they wanted to own something that could never be taken from them, or so they believed. These settlements became known as freedom colonies. By 1910, there were hundreds of them scattered across the South and Midwest. Black people owned property with legal deeds bearing their names. They operated general stores and blacksmith shops. They built churches with their own hands, hauling timber and mixing mortar. They established schools where their children learned reading and arithmetic. They created cemeteries on hillsides where they buried their parents and grandparents with dignity. They passed wealth down to the next generation, something that had been impossible just decades before. Then the dam project started, and these towns started disappearing beneath rising water. The first example sits at the bottom of one of Georgia's most popular lakes. In 1912, a white mob descended on Oscarville, Georgia, a town in Forsyth County. False accusations had been made against black residents, the kind of accusations that required no evidence and allowed no defense. What followed was calculated terror. Over 1,000 black people were driven out or killed in a matter of days. Homes were burned to their foundations. Property was stolen or destroyed. The mob made sure no black person remained in Forsyth County. Not one. For decades, the ruins of Oscarville sat empty, but that was not the end of the town's story. In 1956, the federal government built Buford Dam on the Chattahoochee River. They needed land to flood for the reservoir. They chose the area where Oscarville had stood 44 years earlier. They created Lake Lanier, named after a Confederate poet. The water rose and covered what remained of the black town that had been violently destroyed. Today, Lake Lanier is one of Georgia's premier recreational destinations. Over 10 million people visit each year. Families rent houseboats and spend weekends on the water. Teenagers learn to water ski. Children build sandcastles on the beaches. Jet skis leave white trails across the surface on sunny afternoons. The lake generates millions of dollars in tourism revenue. Most visitors have no idea what lies beneath their feet when they wade into the water. Lake Lanier has another distinction that locals whisper about but rarely discuss publicly. Since it opened in 1957, over 700 people have died there. Drownings in calm water on clear days. Boat accidents that defy logical explanation. Bodies that disappear and are never recovered, even after extensive searches. Some people say the lake is cursed, that the spirits of Oscarville's victims drag the living down into the depths. Others say it's just a dangerous body of water with hidden debris and unpredictable currents caused by the submerged structures of the old town. Either way, the history stays buried. There are no historical markers explaining what happened in 1912 or 1956. There are no memorials to the families who were driven out or drowned twice. The story remains underwater, known only to those who seek it out. The pattern established at Lake Lanier repeated itself across the South. In Alabama, 2 black towns disappeared beneath the same reservoir. Coahuila was founded in 1890 by John Benson, who had been born into slavery in South Carolina. After emancipation, he worked whatever jobs he could find and saved every penny. He eventually bought land near Coahuila Creek in Elmore County, Alabama. The land was affordable because white people didn't want it. The area was swampy and prone to flooding, but it was his. Other black families joined Benson over the years. They fished the creek for bass and catfish. They farmed corn and vegetables on the patches of land that weren't underwater half the year. They built simple wooden homes and a small church with a tin roof. Children were born there and learned to swim in the creek. Old people died there and were buried in a cemetery on a small rise that stayed dry even during heavy rains. It wasn't much, but it was home. It was theirs. In 1926, Alabama Power Company finished construction on Martin Dam, creating one of the largest reservoirs in the state. The water began to rise slowly at first, then faster. 40,000 acres flooded over the course of several months. Coahuila went under. Hundreds of families were displaced with little notice and less compensation. The company had decided their land was needed for the greater good, for progress, for electricity that would power Birmingham's growing industries. Just miles away from where Coahuila drowned stood Susanna, a much larger and more established settlement. By the early 1900s, more than 900 people lived there. This was not a struggling village of sharecroppers barely getting by. Susanna had real infrastructure and a functioning economy. It had a post office, which meant the federal government officially recognized it as a legitimate town. Mail was delivered there. Letters were sent from there. The town existed on maps. Susanna had a bank where residents kept their savings and took out loans to expand their farms or businesses. A gold mine operated in the hills nearby, providing jobs that paid actual wages. There was a school building where children learned to read and write and do mathematics. A blacksmith shop where horses were shod and tools were repaired. Multiple mills that processed timber and grain. A church with a tall steeple visible from miles away, and beside it a cemetery where generations of families were buried. This was a functioning town with an economy and infrastructure that would have been the envy of many white settlements of similar size. Black families had built something substantial from nothing. They had created wealth and stability. In 1916, Alabama Power began the process of acquiring land rights in the Tallapoosa River Valley. They planned to build a massive dam, 168 feet tall, that would create a reservoir stretching for miles. They needed the entire valley flooded. Susanna was directly in the path of the water. The company sent representatives to meet with landowners. They made offers to buy the property. The offers were low, far below what the land and buildings were actually worth. Some families accepted because they had no choice. Others refused, believing they could fight the power company in court or negotiate better terms. It didn't matter. Alabama Power had lawyers and political connections and the legal authority of eminent domain on their side. The land would be taken one way or another. By the time the dam was complete and the water began to rise, Susanna was evacuated. Most families were given only weeks to pack up everything they owned and leave. The buildings were left standing. Nobody bothered to demolish them. The reservoir would do that work. As the water rose, homes were submerged floor by floor. The church steeple disappeared last, pointing toward the sky until the water covered it completely. But here is the detail that haunts descendants to this day, the part of the story that turns from tragedy to desecration. The power company announced that they would relocate the cemeteries in the flood zone. They hired workers to dig up graves and move them to higher ground. They kept careful records. According to their final report, they relocated 12 cemeteries and moved 923 graves. They reburied them in new cemeteries outside the flood zone. The company considered this a success. They had respected the dead. But how many graves did they actually miss? How many family burial plots were never recorded in official documents because they were small and private? Just a few family members buried on their own land. How many graves were marked only with wooden crosses or field stones that had no names carved into them? How many infants and children were buried in spots that only the family knew about? How many ancestors are still down there, unmarked and forgotten at the bottom of the lake?
Joining us now are Miss Ernestine, her daughter Iya, and her granddaughter Imani. Thank you all so much for joining us. We just have to say what I know has been said before. We are so sorry for your loss, and certainly our hearts go out to you and so many who are in a similar predicament. Miss Ernestine, I'd like to just start with you. When you evacuated, did you have a chance to take anything at all with you when you left? Did you think you'd be returning back home again?
I thought indeed I would be returning. I took very little, couple pair of pants and tops.
Imani, what was it like when you went back to the house after the fire?
Honestly, it was extremely shocking. We kind of still had the hope as we were driving up the neighborhood, but there was no neighborhood left. And so we were kind of like, well, maybe it's that house, this house. It's been really hard to process. That something was so beautiful and there and is now gone.
And no insurance on the house?
I definitely had insurance. I didn't have fire insurance.
And so where are you all staying now?
We're here in my home, which has been on the set mode for quite a bit,
each day. So we haven't unpacked from when we evacuated, which is very scary because it feels like my home is what we have left.
And so you're currently in an evacuation zone where your home is in Pasadena.
Warning area. Yeah, they do a ready, set, go, and we're in set. And the winds are coming back, so we've not been sleeping well.
As I would imagine. For all of you, I'm curious if you can give us a sense, those of us who don't know the history of Altadena, how it was a place when redlining was taking place that Black people actually could build. Just give us a sense of what has been lost in that community.
What I know of is that there was a community, even in our famous Old Town that's in Pasadena, but that a lot of African-American people lived in Altadena, and going up closer to the mountain is like more of an accomplishment even. So for my mom to be in Altadena for 50 years, and I lived in 3 different properties, so I know all the stores, all the little streets, all of the friends. I have several friends that have lost their properties as well. And so it's devastating because you get these places that you frequented for years that are gone. And with my mom, she had my grandmother's sewing machine. She had, the heirloom quilts. And, if we were to have to evacuate again, you can't take, I have the last slave of our enslaved person's dresser in my home. But when you're in shock and you got to go, you don't take the dresser with you. You don't even remember the dresser. So my mom had a picture of herself at 5 years old. That's gone. She had 3 photo walls of almost everyone in our family. They're gone. So you lose a lot.
Of course. Imani, anything else that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I'm just also incredibly surprised and grateful at how much, even though we've lost so much, that the community, like, we all need each other. And it's been a lifeline to have the texts and the calls from family members, friends, church, to help you know what to do. My friends were the first ones to let us know, what part of the city to evacuate to. In the beginning, there were no clear directions, but there's been an outpouring of just support. Even those who've lost their homes, we're all calling each other to see how we can support. And I think that is what helps, is to not feel alone in the process.
Sure. And just lastly, Ms. Ernestine, your granddaughter talked about rebuilding. Is that something that you're thinking about doing down the road in Altadena?
I am. Of course, I'm 82 years old, but I'm still alive, fully alive. I am thinking about it. I'm praying about it. And says, Lord, what's next for me? I'm in a very good place in my life with my faith and my friends, and I don't want to just leave them up.
Sure.
I feel safe where I was living. So
Okay.
I'm not sure what will happen, but I might rebuild.
All right. Well, Ms. Ernestine, Imani, Iya, we thank you all so much for taking the time to talk with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Palisades, 75% of Palisades fire victims are still living in temporary housing. Altadena, 67%, Malibu, 43%, and Pasadena, 15%.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
Can you back up? Appreciate it.
Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster?
Meanwhile, because you have people who don't want to leave their homes, who are not going to work, and they are in need of cash. It's a couple $100. I don't know the exact amount, and this should be available in about a week.
What?
When it's time to go, you can choose how. You can wait for enforcement, or you can leave on your terms. The CBP Home app lets you self-deport with dignity, directly and securely. Don't wait. Decide how it ends.
Crying harder. Crying harder. Trump is your president. Crying harder. Crying harder. Trump is your president.
On the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" exclamation point, catch exclamation point.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core.
Hey, let me shut down the Senate! We are at war!
We're in a war right now.
We are at war.
So you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
And that's why the gloves are off.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
And yes, there are many threats to democracy. We see it with these extreme candidates.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
But you can only push people so far. And then they start to take matters into their own hands.
What the American public want is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight.
You know, this is literally call to arms.
The MAGA movement is a threat.
But Michelle says that, when they go low, we go high.
No. With all due respect, if they go low, we don't go high.
When they go low, we kick them.
We take them to the mud and choke them out.
And make sure that they stay down. And you know what? Kick them when they're down, because they deserve it.
Get up in the face of some Congress people.
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your...
We have to fight this in the streets.
And we're going to fight it in the streets.
It's time to step out of your comfort zone and step out into the streets.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist! You and your little friend off of Twitter. Y'all about to find out.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
He's not going to have a third term. He may not finish this term.
Yes, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. Just saying. There will be news sometime. Just so you know, there will be news.
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.
But if you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.